Love created me like itself. Love created you like itself. What's good, fam? We made it to lesson 67 of A Course in Miracles, and today we are going to define who we really are. We are going to define who and what God created, and we are going to name more attributes such as love, light, eternal, infinite, omnipresent, omnipotent, all that is. These are some of our attributes because we share those attributes with God, because God created us like himself. And any of those other attributes that we may feel from time to time, such as worry, doubt, fear, limited, confused, jealous, envious, not enough, comparison, all of those attributes are attributes of the ego. Those are some attributes and emotions we feel whenever we are identified with that self we made apart from God, apart from who we really are. We created this little self-image, and we're going to call that the ego, and that is that sense of separateness. Me and you believe we are separate from one another. We believe that we are these bodies. This body is a learning device, and we are using this world to help us unlearn all of our fearful thoughts. And what's a better way to look within than to look without? Whenever you look outside of yourself and you see any form that fear may take, that is a good thing, because it's letting you love and light and peace is letting you know what blocks you have that are causing you to not be able to see a reflection of who you really are. So let's dive straight into this. If you got the book, you already know what to do. If you don't got the book yet, the description has the PDF version, and let's go ahead and dive straight in. Lesson 67 of A Course in Miracles. Love created me like itself. Today's idea is a complete and accurate statement of what you are. This is why you are the light of the world. This is why God appointed you as the world's Savior. This is why the Son of God looks to you for his salvation. He is saved by what you are. We will make every effort today to reach this truth about you and to realize fully, if only for a moment, that this is the truth. This is exactly who me and you are. Me and you are the light of the world. And not only me and you are not special. We are all that. But most of us fell asleep to that fact. And me and you being awake to that fact allows us to wake up others to who they really are as well, which is the light of the world. In the longer practice period, we will think about your reality and its wholly unchanged and unchangeable nature. We will begin by repeating this truth about you, and then spend a few minutes adding some relevant thoughts, such as holiness created me holy, kindness created me kind, helpfulness created me helpful, perfection created me perfect. Any attribute which is in accord with God as he defines himself is appropriate for use. Now, that's really powerful. This lesson is a powerful lesson because we are defining the attributes of God, and we are understanding that God cannot give us what he does not have. So many people have this false perception of their creator, of their source, because they are identifying themselves with the ego. Therefore, they cannot perceive in any other way than with the ego. And because the ego is worry, doubt, fear, and makes you feel guilty and makes you feel condemned and judgmental, sometimes people who are identifying with the ego project those human egotistical qualities on God, and they believe that that's what and who God is. And we are here today to understand that love created us like itself. God created us like itself, and we cannot be anything other than what God created us to be. And God does not have any fearful, worry, doubt attributes, because love is all there is. And fear is something we feel whenever we are separated from love. We are never really separated, but in our minds we believe that we are. And this is why we are doing this mind training, to help us wake up and understand that we never really left our source. We never really left home. It is all an illusion in our mind, and this is a state of mind that when we get here, it will be perfectly clear, and we will be so confused on how we could have ever went as far as we did to believe that we were separate from our source and one another. So just keep that in mind. If I only have quarters, and if I don't have no nickels or dimes or pennies, I can only give you quarters. If I only have love, I can only give you love. So if I ever judge you, or if I am ever jealous of you or envious of you, that must mean that I have those things to give, meaning I have some stuff to work on. And I'm pretty sure we all have some stuff to work on, and this is just making us aware of what we need to do in order to see the light that we really are. Because we see people out there, including ourselves when we're asleep, think that attack is a valid way of going about things, trying to attack someone, or arguments or fights or any type of conflict that makes somebody feel less than. Whenever we make someone feel that way intentionally, that must mean that we have that fear to give, because if we didn't have it, we couldn't have made them feel that way. We couldn't have acted in a way that would make someone feel that way. We couldn't give them what we don't have. Now, that's just another way of saying love created us like itself. Love is all there is, therefore love created us, therefore that is what we are. And we don't fully know that yet, because if we did, we would not be here right now. And we are here to learn what we are learning right now. So let's be glad that we are in the presence of this information here together, remembering truth, and be awake and be outrageously joyous 24/7, because it is possible whenever you are in this state of mind forevermore. We are trying today to undo your definition of God and replace it with His own. We are also trying to emphasize that you are part of His definition of Himself. After you have gone over several such related thoughts, try to let all thoughts drop away for a brief preparatory interval, and then try to reach past all your images and preconceptions about yourself to the truth in you. If love created you like itself, this self must be in you. And somewhere in your mind, it is there for you to find. You may find it necessary to repeat the idea for today from time to time to replace distracting thoughts. That's a good way to go about today's lesson. If you have any distracting thoughts, just be aware of those thoughts and then replace those distracting thoughts with love created me like itself. Thinking this thought is much more beneficial than thinking a mindless thought that's not going to get us nowhere. So we might as well make this a belief, and better said, this does not need to be a belief, because this is just what is. So it's better that we practice this thought so we could see clearly, rather than having those repeated thoughts that we've thought our whole life. Those easy thoughts, those lazy thoughts pop up in our mind. They're so easy to think that they happen on autopilot because we've thought them for so long, and those thoughts, those mindless thoughts, those meaningless thoughts are blocking us from seeing the truth. And here we are remembering it, and the more we keep truth on our minds, then we will practice truth so much that it will replace all those mindless thoughts that we've had. And trust me, if this thought is on your mind and you use this thought to replace all those mindless thoughts, then your business will prosper, your relationships will prosper, financial situations will prosper, everything in life, you will feel better, and you will feel like the quality of your life is improving just with this one thought, if you were to really keep this on your mind rather than those thoughts that are on our mind from time to time for most of the day that are needless, that are fear, worry, doubt, irrelevant. this is what we want right here, whether we know it or not. If we know this, we are awake, and if we don't know, then we must be sleeping, because being awake is our will. Knowing who we really are is our will. Being asleep is just an effect of not knowing who you are. And whenever you wake up, then you are in complete control and you have dominion over everything in your life. And that is the point that we are going to get to, if we haven't reached it already. You may find it necessary to repeat the idea for today from time to time to replace distracting thoughts. You may also find that this is not sufficient and that you need to continue adding other thoughts related to the truth about yourself. Yet perhaps you will succeed in going past that and through the interval of thoughtlessness to the awareness of a blazing light in which you recognize yourself as love created you. Be confident that you will do much today to bring that awareness nearer, whether you feel you have succeeded or not. It will be particularly helpful today to practice the idea for the day as often as you can. You need to hear the truth about yourself as frequently as possible, because your mind is so preoccupied with false self-images. I'm going to read that one more time because we were just talking about that. It will be particularly helpful today to practice the idea for the day as often as you can. You need to hear the truth about yourself as frequently as possible, because your mind is so preoccupied with false self-images. Our mind is preoccupied with this false self-image, and it's been for our entire life. And it's those repeated thoughts that we were talking about that are being replaced with truth the more frequently we keep this on our minds. And once again, I cannot stress this enough, once we do this work enough to the point where we know this and this is not even a question anymore, no one could change your mind about what we're talking about here, because it is brought back to your awareness, and it needs no defense. This is truth. The moment we get to that point, we will never have to read this book ever again. And I'm pretty sure we will want to, because of the joy that it brings us. But the whole point for me mentioning that is, whenever you restore who you really are back into your mind, you can go about your life as you intended. And this will be a program. This program will be running behind the scenes, causing everything in your life to prosper. Right now, it is necessary for us to read this and repeat these thoughts in our mind and program this new software in our minds, in our brains, whatever the case may be. We need to make this the new program that runs on autopilot, because right now what's running on autopilot is causing us to have uncontrollable and irrational emotions, worry, doubt, fear, anger. We experience something out there and it causes us to get thrown off balance, and we forget who we are, and we take action from that sleeping state of mind. We take action from a worry state of mind, and opportunities are presented to us, but we can't even see them because we are perceiving from a false self-image, and those opportunities are knocking at our door, and we're responding to those opportunities in a way that kind of let the opportunity slide by, because we are perceiving from a false self-image. Now, again, one more time, the more we practice this as frequent as possible, to the point that we know that this is how this works, that this is how the world works, that this is who we are, that this is truth, and nothing could ever change this information that we're discussing here today. When we get to that point, and whenever this is an autopilot program in our mind, then that's when the fun begins. So let's continue these lessons as we have been. We're only on lesson 67. We are going to do the entirety of the lessons, which is 365 days. And trust me, I am very positive that at the end of this year, whenever we finish these 365 lessons of A Course in Miracles, that this new thought system will be programmed in your mind. It will be embedded, and it will be effortlessly brought up. You won't have to try no more, because this will be a belief. This will be your program. It will be unconsciously competent. Remember, we discussed this. This will be unconsciously competent, meaning you don't even have to think about it no more, because it's what's running behind the scenes. I could assure you that if we really take this seriously for the next few hundred days that we have until the lessons are complete, we will be at that point, and we could close this book and we could go on about our lives and live a joyful life that we intended. 4 or 5 times an hour, and perhaps even more, it would be most beneficial to you to remind yourself that love created you like itself. Hear the truth about yourself in this. Try to realize in the shorter practice periods that this is not your tiny, solitary voice that tells you this. This is the voice for God, reminding you of your Father and of yourself. This is the voice of truth, replacing everything that the ego tells you about yourself with the simple truth about the Son of God. You were created by love, like itself. Beautiful lesson. That is the end of lesson 67. Again, this needs to be our number one priority. If you have to and you're willing to, go on your phone and set an alarm 4 or 5 times every single hour and have that thing blinging and ringing off every single chance you get to remind you of this information. Put a wallpaper that will remind you to think this thought every time you check your phone. Put a note, write a note down and put it on your mirror or on your steering wheel in your car, or whatever it is that you need to do personally in order to keep this thought on your mind 24/7. Because the more we do that, the quicker it will become embedded in your brain. Those neural pathways will be firing much more quicker, and it will be easier and easier and easier for you to think this thought until you no longer have to give it any attention no more, because it's working on autopilot. Now just know I'm going to do the same. I am going to make sure that this is my number one priority, because I am determined to see, and I am willing to do whatever it takes to return back to who I really am, so that way I can go throughout this life as I intended and live a exciting, fulfilling, joyous life, because that is possible. And the state of mind that we are in right now is possible 24/7. We can feel this way all the time, and actually when we're not feeling as great as we do right now, at any moment in time, something has gone wrong, and it is always us. Whenever we finally take full responsibility for everything in our lives, then we take back all of our power. And now when we're aware that we have power, which we do, then we can learn to direct that power in the direction that we would like to become more fulfilled. We can direct that power in constructive ways rather than destructive ways. We can learn how to direct that power to create situations and circumstances and events in our life that we would prefer, rather than situations that are anything other than what we prefer. So let's go ahead and pause here for today, and we will meet here again for tomorrow for lesson 68 of A Course in Miracles. I will see you there.